Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me today to talk about the power of targeting your niche to accelerate growth. So, a little about me. I am originally from Cleveland, Ohio, and then I moved to Maryland, outside of the DC area. I have over 2 decades of experience working with startups and small businesses in a variety of industries, including technology, e-learning, and financial services. I'm the founder and principal consultant at Marketing Strategy Solutions. So, what is niche marketing? Niche marketing really is about reaching a specific audience in order that have similar pain points in order to really reach them with messaging that resonates and cuts through all of the noise that they have. But before we get into the nitty gritty of how to do niche marketing, let's talk about what the status quo looks like. So many B2B business leaders fall into this trap. In B2B marketing, starting with marketing to a specific business is a good start. But another way that people look at it is maybe they want to market to companies in a particular industry, or any C-level executive at any company, or companies that have IT needs, or have remote workers, or really anybody in the world. This broad approach is inefficient. There's a better way to go about it through niche marketing. As a fellow small business leader, I understand that doing niche marketing can feel like a leap of faith. It can feel really counterintuitive to narrow that audience down. It can feel scary to have to leave revenue on the table. But the thing is, when you do niche marketing, you can really get into the minds of that target audience and accelerate your growth. So let's look at what this might look like. Say you have a software that's really going to revolutionize the field of HR. There's a lot of companies out there that have HR departments and could use a software to help with their human resources challenges. But you might want to limit it to a specific geographic area, because different countries and different areas will have different regulations and different policies that they need to follow. You may also want to narrow it down to an industry, because let's face it, the HR needs of an IT company are going to be very different than those of a manufacturing company. You may even want to narrow it down to companies with specific employees, because the needs of a single location small business are going to have different challenges than a multinational enterprise. So in this instance, your target niche might look like something like HR directors in IT companies with a single location with 100 to 500 employees in the United States. Some of the benefits of niche marketing is being able to streamline your messaging. So when you really understand that specific target audience, you can streamline your messaging that speaks their language in their terms, and you can stand out from your competitors. You can really differentiate yourself, making your marketing tactics even more cost effective. Plus, your customers really appreciate the extra effort of being able to understand their specific unique needs and create that level of loyalty. In B2B marketing, it takes a minimum of 7 touches to go through the buying process, from identifying that they have a challenge, to educating themselves about solutions out there, to building trust with your organization, and to ultimately becoming a customer. As a small business leader, you have resource constraints, whether it's your team, the number of people, the amount of time they have to dedicate to it, the budget that you have to dedicate it to it. So it's really important to keep in mind creating all of these different pieces of content to walk people through here, and to not fall into the pitfall of spreading yourself too thin. By having a single niche, you're able to really create that content that speaks to this audience and dedicate the time and the effort to having content that resonates with them and cuts through the noise. Implementing a successful niche marketing process is not just about understanding your audience. It's about really immersing yourself in their world and speaking their language. By doing this, you're able to really increase your return on investment. You're able to increase your market share so that you have more customers. You're able to increase your revenue, have improved customer satisfaction, and increase your brand awareness. So, are you ready to dive into how to create your niche marketing strategy? The first step is to identify your intended audience. You need to understand their pain points, understand their language, understand their unique situation, and create that messaging that's going to really resonate with them. Now let's talk about the art and really to stand out from your competitors. Do that competitive research. Find out what your competitors are doing. Find the areas where you can provide the value to your customers. And let's talk about developing a unique value proposition. It's about achieving the end results that your customers need. So make sure that you're really talking to them about how you're going to help their business. And personalizing your messaging. Be able to really focus on what their language is, what their business terms are, what their business challenges are in order to speak to them in a personal way. Leveraging targeted advertising. There's a lot of different platforms out there to do your advertising. And so making sure that you're using the platforms and the channels where your audience is going in order to learn information. For example, when you're looking at social media, there's a lot of different social media channels. So one of the things that you need to do is you need to make sure that you're on the social media channels that your customers are on. Not everybody uses LinkedIn, not everybody uses Facebook, not everybody uses TikTok. So make sure you're really strategically planning where your messaging is going and targeting that message to fit the platform that you're using. Laser focused advertising, making sure that your value proposition, those keywords, those buzzwords, those things that are speaking to your audience are in your advertising. Really building those lasting relationships in order to create customer loyalty. And lastly, you need to make sure that you're measuring and adjusting. So understanding what success looks like for you in order to measure it. If you're not measuring it, you can't adjust it, you don't know where to make improvements. So measure and measure and measure and adjust as necessary. But what if your target market really is the whole world? You can follow the ripple effect. So start with one niche and really understand that niche, get really good at that niche, take as much market share as you can, make sure that you're earning the revenue, and then take that revenue and the knowledge you've gained and move to another adjacent niche and apply those learnings. And you can rinse and repeat, but slowly and intentionally taking revenue and learnings with you as you expand from one niche to the next. Now let's dive into some case studies about niche marketing. Does anybody remember when Amazon sold only books? I know there might be a few people who are like, Amazon? I don't know. They only sold books? That's crazy. They did. They spent 10 years only selling books before they became profitable. So from there, then they reached out into other adjacent areas, started selling other things, started making their platform available for other third-party sellers, and now they've expanded into IT services and that become the Amazon that we know today. HubSpot is another case story. They created a market. They defined and created the term inbound marketing. They became the experts in inbound marketing strategy. To this day, they are still the go-to experts. But they've also built an entire suite of support that inbound marketing strategy. Anybody heard of Zoom? Zoom has a different case story. Before the pandemic, they were a very niche player in business meeting platforms. But then the national health crisis came and they found themselves in the international spotlight, and not always in a positive way. What they did was they acknowledged those shortfalls. They were able to fix them, to respond to them, and to really be able to leverage that market position that they had. And now they have become an expert in the area and have really expanded to having a full suite of collaboration tools. So here are some key takeaways. Successful niche marketing is all about building those relationships. You're making sure that you're speaking directly to your customers and building lasting relationships. Your results include increased market share, improved customer satisfaction, increased revenue, and elevated brand awareness. By mastering one niche at a time, you're able to take your knowledge and those learnings and expand from one niche to the next niche to the next niche until you have reached the full scope of your target market. We'll stop for a minute for anyone who has any questions. I have free copies of my book about the inbound marketing basics. So anyone who has a question will get a free copy of the book. Thank you everyone for joining me today.